Find other great podcasts like this one at podmoth.network.
Work sucks. Am I right, Jay?
Yeah, Kay, it does. But luckily, the Fuck My Work Life podcast is here to help you through.
In this comedy podcast, we share memorable workplace stories through guests and listener submissions in the hopes of brightening your day, or at least leave you thinking, maybe you don't have it so bad after all.
Listen to Fuck My Work Life on your favorite podcast platform and follow us on all the socials at FMWL Pod.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Cryptid Cocktail Party, a show where we have a few drinks, share a few laughs, take a dive into the unknown. I'm your host Dave, and today I am joined by Nick Einstman. I am not joined by Luke today. Luke is he's currently being a pinball wizard at a pinball tournament because apparently he's pro now or something. But yeah, I'm joined by Nick Einstman. What'd you think of the new intro music, bud?
What in the Tim Burton was that? What was that? You know what it felt like? It felt like I was playing Sonic Adventure Battle 2.
Yeah.
And I was in the evil Chow part of the Chow Garden.
It's Halloween.
Put it back.
It's Halloween. We're having fun here. It's quality content, which before we were recording, I said to you, if Cryptid Cocktail is about anything at all, it is quality.
It's quality content.
It's quality content.
It's quality content. It's wholesome content.
That was a fun intro. No, you didn't. No.
Listen, it's your podcast. It's your pig. It's your farm.
Hey man, anytime you can get a jaunty tune with a theremin over it, fucking sign me up, bud. I'm all about it.
You know, Christmas is coming up.
Yeah, and
you might get a theremin.
Oh, dude, if I got a theremin, dude. I'd get divorced off the amount of annoyance that my wife would have to deal with if I had a theremin.
No, what would happen is if I specifically bought you, Dave Prescott, a theremin, it would end up in my house because you would use it for a week. Allie would kill you and she would drop it off by herself.
Yeah, probably.
Then I would own a theremin.
Yeah,
which means you'd come over more.
It would get donated real quick. And yeah, I don't know, dude. Theremins. The one and only time I ever played a theremin was with my buddy Jan. I was doing merch for his band, and we were on tour, and we were in Seattle, and we went to some I don't know, it was like a music museum or something like that, and they had just a room where you could play instruments, and me and him fucked around with the theremin for probably a good 2.5 hours. I still have no idea how to play it. I don't even know if you can. It's wild, but it's a fun instrument.
It's a fun doodad.
A little doodad.
Little deedle dude.
Yeah, but anyways, how you doing, bud? You looking good?
I'm feeling good, Dave. You know, the YouTube channel's coming back. We just got a whole new camera set up, which I'm very excited about.
Yeah?
Yeah. Filmed a good amount last night, but I'm excited for this week's episode.
So what is it? It's like a prank show, right?
Oh yeah, it's a prank show about luxury watches. It's a super fun time.
Oh shit. Well, I'm glad you're joining us today. When I started the Jersey Devil series, you came to mind first about doing it, and because you spent a lot of time in the Pine Barrens, and
I'll be there next weekend.
Yeah,
actually.
so I feel like this is right up your alley. You probably know more about the Jersey Devil than either Luke or I do. Like a lot of the stuff that I'm learning while researching it, I'm learning for the first time. You look like you got something real important to say.
Well, I mean, like...
this is an audio platform.
Yeah.
No one can see what you're doing.
Listen, I'm a few glasses of this delicious sheep dip. That blended malted scotch.
First of all, sheep dip sounds disgusting. And
it's actually, you've had it before, and you liked it.
Did I?
Christmas.
I'm not a scotch guy. Yeah, maybe. I was probably already hammered, though.
Oh, absolutely. Christmas Eve at Nick Einstman's house is always a ridiculous time.
Oh, that was the one with Papa Einstein.
Yeah, my
right?
dad was there.
Yeah.
We
Your
were
house
playing,
smelled like fish for so long
because I cooked A lot of fish.
Oh, so gross. Anyways, but yeah, so Jersey
Fish.
Devil, you probably know more about it than anyone I know.
Yeah, so the Pine Barrens in general are a super bizarre place, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many different cryptids that are running around and like different ghost tales that are being thrown around. But obviously, the most notorious is the Leeds Devil, aka good old Jersey Devil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we went over some I guess the ghost of Captain Kidd is said to haunt the woods. There's like the devil dog or the hellhound that's in there, and then I read something about like a blue hole. It's just a blue hole.
So the blue hole is interesting. There are I know of like some people that have seen the blue, like quote unquote, seen the blue hole.
I mean, it's a real place, right? Isn't it?
It's a legitimate. It's so what it is. It's just a sinkhole. It's a sinkhole that turned into like a swimming hole.
Yeah.
But I feel like because I've become friends with the pine rats, as they call themselves.
Okay.
This is not. I'm not even making this up.
I know. I 100% believe you.
Everyone has like some form of Jersey Devil story or something weird that has happened to them in the pines.
Yeah. Well, good thing you brought that up because last episode, we went over like the different origin stories of the Jersey Devil. And for anyone listening who's jumping in to episode 2 and didn't bother with the origin stories, here's kind of like a brief rundown of what it is. So Mother Leeds cursed an innocent baby. Innocent baby turns into a nightmarish homunculus. Nightmare homunculus murders everyone and then fucks off up the chimney into the woods.
Right.
Yeah. And
yeah, it's the most believed or most accepted story.
Yeah, we did cover some of the other origin stories, but they were kind of like unimaginative. They were just basically the same story with like a few minor details changed, like
little twists and turns.
Yeah, like instead of it being birthed and then turning into the devil, there was one where she just gave straight up birth to like a 5 foot tall Jersey Devil. There was one where instead of like it escaping immediately into the woods, she kind of kept it inside away from everyone for a few years, and then it went insane and killed her and then fucked off into the woods. There was one story that I did like, and it was the one where they said that Mother Leeds was just like a woman who lived in Leeds County, Jersey or something like that, and she fell in love with a British soldier, and since this was like around the time of like the Revolutionary War, they did, the whole town just put a curse on her, and when they gave birth to the devil. So that one was cool. And then the last one we covered, I think, was Mother Leeds was a witch and just said that she straight up fucked the devil and gave birth to the Jersey Devil, which is pretty fucking metal, if you ask me.
Yeah. I mean, it fits that part of Jersey, to say the least.
Plus,
there's not a lot going on out there.
No, and I bet the devil is a very genuine, like generous lover.
I mean, listen, you're coming out right off the bat. You're in the Pine Barrens, which is actually the nation's capital of blueberries. So he's probably feeding Mama Leeds blueberries as he's, flicking her blueberry.
Plus, I mean, I just think about it. The devil's like the king of like, what's that word I'm looking for? Like hedonism and like all like.
Yeah, he's like the king of like lust and seduction.
Yeah, dude. I bet he fucks like a pro, dude.
Oh yeah, he's got all the blueberries around him too. So he's he's whining and dining people.
Blueberry wine.
Blueberry wine.
All right, so
more scotch.
So like I said, in this episode, I thought we would we'd go over some of the more famous sightings of the Jersey Devil, and then you can, if you have any you want to add in like after or in, but it's something But we're gonna go over the ones that have happened over the years, with one involving the relative of a very important historical figure.
Yep.
Yeah. So one thing I found when trying to research like cryptid sighting stories is that, and not just with this one, but like any cryptid in general, is that if anything happened, if any occurrences happened after 1970, they're the most boring, fucking mundane stories I've ever heard in my entire life. It's like, yeah, I saw the chupacabra out here in Topeka, Kansas. He was rummaging through my bins. So I said, go on, get, and then it just left. And that's like 80% of all cryptid sightings post 1970. So I'm not going to cover any of those because they're fucking boring. But their boringness does kind of, some of them does lend credence to the story just because of how boring they are. Like, who would make that up? Like, who's? Yeah,
it's like, who's saying that the Jersey Devil is, cutting someone's lawn? Like they stole someone's John Deere and they're, cleaning out the backyard.
I mean, we've all seen that happen though, so it is what it is.
I mean, I live in equally one of the worst neighborhoods in Philadelphia, and I see that shit all the time.
Jersey Devil just riding.
Oh yeah,
riding lawnmowers through.
Just takes my imaginary John Deere out of my backyard.
You're
just cruising down.
Your 8x8 backyard. You just got a riding lawnmower.
my neighbors hate me.
So with that, you ready to dive into some sightings?
Always.
You probably know, because I really only have 2 sighting stories, but one of them occurs through it's like a bunch of occurrences that happen throughout a span of a week. So really, I only have 2 stories. But anyway, so as we covered in episode 1, the Jersey Devil was birthed into existence in 1735 before killing his family and then escaping into the Jersey Pine Barrens. So the devil has been seen sporadically throughout the 18th and 19th century, with town folks and out-of-towners alike claiming to have caught a glimpse of the winged beast. People also claim to hear haunting wails coming from the pines, as well as reports of livestock and even some family pets being slaughtered by an unknown entity that some would say was the Jersey Devil. So in 1 week, in 1909, January 16th through the 23rd, to be exact, if you're a big dates person,
I am a pretty big dates guy.
Something changed, and the Jersey Devil was pretty much out in full force. Started out small. Reports of cloven tracks in the snow started coming in from all over the Delaware Valley, and the tracks weren't just seen like walking across the ground. They were seen going over and under fences, through yards and roads, and even across rooftops. And these reports weren't just like isolated to the rural areas. Reports were coming in from larger cities like Camden, Philadelphia, that kind of stuff. So it really branched out from where it originally says that his like home is, I guess.
Right. Well, I think to really quickly stop you right there, people don't grasp how big the Pine Barrens are. Like the Pine Barrens go from kind of like North Jersey down to past Philly, which is if you were to look at it on a map, Jersey, South Jersey, like it is huge. So he just kind of does whatever. He's got
free reign, man. He can do whatever he wants, and I'm not going to stop him.
Those big old wings, they stop for nothing. Cash, grass, or ass. You know what I mean?
No, of course, this being the very early 1900s, people were obviously panicked that an actual devil baby was free from the confines of the Barrens and just roaming the city streets all willy-nilly. So us Americans, we do what we do best when there's something going on that questions our worldview. Nick, can you guess what that is?
Oh, I'm assuming they joined a mob.
They formed armed posses to try and hunt down the Jersey Devil and pump that bastard full of lead. Good, cold, hard American steel.
I mean, what better way to do it than fill it up with Pennsylvania steel? You know what I mean?
Exactly. And just to like illustrate to you, Nick, how widespread and real this panic was in lower New Jersey and Philadelphia, schools had to close early due to poor attendance or just straight up shut down. And
because people were leaving. They were like pulling their kids out to go 45 minutes east into the Pines.
No, they were trying to stay inside and hunker down so that way the Jersey Devil wouldn't eat them. Yeah. Lumber mills in the Pines were forced to close because workers refused to travel through the woods just to go to work. They were really afraid of the Jersey Devil, which is wild.
Pine Barrens, no joke.
The Pine Barrens is no joke. Now, so the devil was then spotted in Camden, New Jersey, and then again in Bristol, Pennsylvania, where I work, where you used to work. Yeah, and in both cases, the police were dispatched and immediately just started unloading clips at this thing. Just fucking.
Do we know where in Bristol?
Them. I don't know. It didn't say. It just said Bristol.
Oh, man.
But Bristol's not that big.
No, it's probably like the main street. It's probably right on that bridge or right on that overlook looking into the water. Over the river.
It's probably right around there. Now, a few days later, it was spotted in Hayden Heights. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Haddon, whatever.
Yeah. Haddon Heights.
Where it attracted a trolley car full of people before taking off. Then it reappeared in West Collingswood on someone's roof, and firefighters came and tried to blast it off the roof with their hoses.
That is the most. So, funnily enough, that's where I was most of today. Was in Collingswood.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you've ever been over there, but it is a small New Jerseyan town that is trapped in the 1950s. And that is the most Collingswood thing I've ever heard.
It's just like, there's something on my roof with the devil.
They have an ice cream like parlor,
Yeah.
and, like / diner called the Pop Shop, and it looks like it has 1950s systematic racism in it.
Yeah, but at the same time, that sounds like a fucking vibe, and I want to go.
Oh, I'm down to go
That sound-
anytime.
That sounds
I had a
pretty-
BLT there this morning. It was incredible.
Ooh, a BLT this morning.
Yeah. Well, it was like 11 o'clock.
Yeah, I mean, I guess technically that's just toast with bacon. That's breakfast.
Yeah, there's tomato on it.
Yeah, it's fine. Whatever.
It's a breakfast sandwich.
No. So the devil obviously didn't like being attacked by a fire hose, so it swooped down and attacked the firefighters before just getting out of there. Then the final incident that I could find during this devil's week-long rampage again occurred in Camden when an older woman went outside to see the Jersey Devil trying to eat her dog.
Listen, you can only feed on pine rats for so long.
Yeah, good. A good variety is,
To quickly hop back
hopping back.
to your trolley story.
Mhm.
I've actually read a few different accounts where that trolley was attacked by the Jersey
It
Devil.
said it was attacked by, and then there was a second trolley that I read was near there too, and either witnessed it or it got attacked also.
Which is insane. Like, you really don't hear outside of Sasquatch or Sasquai throwing rocks at people.
Yeah,
Like, these big notable cryptids really taking the offense outside of Mothman, but I think he was genuinely just trying to warn people.
yeah, but also to attack a group, like not even like an individual, but to like attack a trolley car full of people. That's fucking wild, dude.
Jersey gives no fucks.
That's true. That's very true.
Yeah, it's interesting because that week there was so much going on. There was so many different news outlets covering it. Right?
Yeah,
there wasn't even just like a New Jersey and Philly thing. Like, it was going all the way up to New York. I don't know if you guys touched on like the fact that Ben Franklin was like fighting one of the lead sons for like a month and a half about that.
No, we did not cover anything about Ben Franklin.
Yeah, that was a whole thing. Just the historical, like,
Ben Franklin probably just wanted to
Jersey.
fuck it. Let's be real.
I mean, Ben Franklin probably did fuck
He
it.
probably did. But yeah, so that's the story of the Devil's Rampage that happened in 1909. Do that 1 week in January, and like you said, there is a lot. There are more like sightings and stuff happening, but these were the most like notable ones that like people actually were either attacked or they attacked it or police were involved. You know what I mean? Like, but yeah,
it's a whole thing, and I think the cool thing for us too is like, obviously it's no secret Dave and I both live in Philly, about 3 blocks away from each other. It's very nice. It's very nice. But like the Philadelphia Zoo threw like a bounty on this thing.
Oh yeah, and there was
I don't remember. It was either like $5,000 or like $10,000, but like back in the 1900s, that's your entire family is set for life.
Oh yeah, but then also there was that like that fucking penny museum or whatever that claimed to have like the real Jersey Devil just locked up.
Yeah, it was like a 5 and dime museum. I think it was on Arch Street. And they like, I don't remember if he got a kangaroo or he got something and he like painted it and then put like fake wings on it. And he had some like kid, typical South Philly kid, just like prodding this thing to get it to like move and shit.
Dude, freak shows were so fucking wild back then. They try getting
Philly
away with that
general.
now, dude. Like fucking the shitstorm that would go on with different groups would just be it wouldn't last. But
this would be a freak show now would be what unites everybody.
That's true. You let your freak flag
in defense.
Let your freak flag
offense
fly.
Yeah.
I can't say that. But I'm glad you brought up Ben Franklin. You want to know why?
Oh, I'm assuming you're going to bring up another historical figure that is tied
kinda
to the Jersey Devil. He's
So-
softly tied.
So the next story that I have for you comes from royalty. Can you get? Do you know this story?
I do know who you're talking about.
Joseph Bonaparte, brother of Napoleon Bonaparte, and once the proud king of Spain before being forced to abdicate his throne in 1813 because he did a piss poor job of defending Spain from England during the Peninsular Wars, was forced into exile.
I mean, listen, the Bonapartes just shouldn't have been leaders.
Never. Not
I'm
once.
no historian, but you know,
So in his exile, he settled in on 800 acres of land in Bordentown, New Jersey, located right in the middle of New York and Philadelphia. Now, he chose this spot because at the time, New York and Philadelphia were the two biggest seaports, and he was able to keep up to date with the latest goings on in Spain and France. Now, homeboy, even though he was no longer a king, doesn't mean he didn't ball out of control like one, Nick, okay?
Oh, of course he did.
He built a massive mansion with landscaping, fountains, parkland, the whole 9 yards. He even hosted parties there with like the likes of John Adams and Daniel Webster. Homeboy partied with the fucking dictionary guy. That's kind of awesome.
Sam Adams' brother, so you know that beer was good.
It is, yeah. Maybe, I don't know. What does John Adams got to? He didn't do any of that shit.
No, but he probably got the friends and family discount.
No, none of this is relevant to the story. I just needed to pad some of the story with a little bit of like words. So I added all that in. But it's just a little history lesson, and I thought that'd be good for everyone listening, so that way they could say they actually like learned something real on the show that wasn't about
the cool part about
monster.
that. Yeah, I mean the cool part about that is like Joseph Beauregard was like a very revered hunter, right? Like people knew him as like if Napoleon didn't get France, you know, the idea was that Joseph was just going to take over, and the course of history would have changed. But obviously Napoleon got France. But Joseph was like a very avid hunter, and the story goes that he was like hunting and he heard something,
homie,
and then he went on like a week.
Don't get ahead of yourself, bro. I'm telling the story now.
I'm sorry, I wasn't sure. You said that you were just trying to give a spice lesson. Little spice of history lesson.
So Joseph Bonaparte was hunting alone on a snowy afternoon deep in the woods. As he's trekking his way through the forest, he comes across some odd-looking tracks. Joseph described the tracks as looking like a 2-footed donkey, with one foot being slightly larger than the other. So he followed the tracks for some time before they just like abruptly stopped in the snow, as if whatever he was hunting just either flew away or simply vanished. Now, as ex-King Bonaparte sat and stared at the tracks, trying to figure out what kind of animal they could possibly be from, he heard a strange hissing noise coming from right behind him. Joseph slowly turned around and found himself face to face with a very large, very horse-faced winged creature. Joseph froze in place due to what I can only assume is what I am calling load-bearing terror. That's what you call it when you're so afraid that you just shit your pants. So... I mean,
I've been there.
Yeah. So the two just kind of sat there staring at each other for a bit, neither one of them moving. In my head, they're doing that thing where they're really close face to face, and they both keep kind of like glancing down at each other's lips as if they're going to kiss.
As if they're going to start making out.
Yeah. But that's not what happened. The creature hissed at him one last time, flapped its wings, and then just took off into the woods.
I have a feeling he clapped them Jersey cheeks.
Probably. Upon returning later that evening, Joseph recounted the story to a friend who informed them that he just came like face to face with the Jersey Devil. Bonaparte loved the story of the Jersey Devil and his origin story so much that he like you said, he made it a point to try and track it down every single time he went out hunting. Sadly, he never did see it again, and things in Europe around this time started to settle down, so he returned to be with his wife in Italy, but he never forgot the devil. I'm sure the devil forgot him, though, because Bonaparte really didn't do much to impress him. I mean...
It was also the devil. I mean, he had other things to do.
Yeah, and plus, dude, I don't know if, like, Joseph was so afraid or, like, what, but dude was hunting. He had a gun. Why didn't he try and fucking shoot it?
I'm sure he did. I mean, I think the problem is that, like the same thing that we deal with every cryptid story, right? Someone shoots it and misses.
True, or it just doesn't affect them at all.
Right.
Yeah, but yeah, those are a couple sighting stories of the Jersey Devil, and that's all I got. I don't have much more than that. Where are you at, Nick? What are you thinking?
I mean, listen, like I know plenty of people who were born and raised in the Pines, and you know, I would say at least 5 out of 10 or 5 out of 8 have a Jersey Devil story.
That's a pretty big ratio,
right? Like, so there's something going on out there. I mean, I haven't seen the old JD. I wish that I've seen the JD, but like I've had weird stuff happen with my brother while we were camping out there a few times. So, you know, do I want to believe? Absolutely. But like, something regardless is going on out there.
I don't know if I believe in the Jersey Devil specifically. Do I believe that there's probably shit in the pines that like is fucking around and fucking shit up? Yeah, I do.
Oh, big time. Big time.
Because Luke had a good story on our last episode about how he was camping and then he kept hearing someone walking around his tent, but he couldn't see anyone. And then when he went outside, he saw like there was footprints circling his tent, but they were bigger than his. He couldn't see anything when you like, you know what I mean? Like, so there is something there. I don't know if I believe in the Jersey Devil though.
Jordan
it's a bit
and
much.
I mean that's the thing too, is like these stories at this point are, you know, some of them are just under 200 years old, right?
Yeah, and back then people, you know, were known for embellishing, especially since back then a lot of the stories were word of mouth, and then it would get just embellished over time and time before it was actually ever eventually written down.
Yeah, and I think right now what we're dealing with is there's so many generations of stories, right? Like,
yeah,
my friend John like grew up in the Pine Barrens, and he's a pretty straight shooter, right? He's not like doesn't drink, doesn't smoke. He just does his own thing. Works for SEPTA. So, you know, if the city of Philadelphia trusts him to drive, you know, a bus.
Yeah, they trust anyone to do that though.
It's true, but he hasn't crashed one yet.
That's fair.
To my knowledge.
Right, that's valid.
To my knowledge. But like he has a pretty wild story that like him and his friends were like out camping and like something like crashed into their tent and they couldn't get out quick enough to see what it was. And they just ran off, right? And there was no deer tracks, there was no bear tracks, like nothing along those lines. And then Jordan and I were camping last April, and it wasn't so much like we didn't think it was the Jersey Devil, but there was some weird shit going on. Like we kept hearing things all throughout the woods. Like I camp out there all the time. Like I have a pretty good idea of what deer sounds like, what like you know
what the wilderness in your immediate area should sound like.
It's 45 minutes, you know, door to camp. And we just kept hearing like weird stuff and like trees were getting slammed all over. And then the next morning we're seeing all these weird lights. Not that it was like an alien light, but there's like weird shit going on.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it is also
Philly early.
It's you know, it's swamp gas.
Oh, it's swamp. I mean, we were right on a swamp.
All of it's swamp.
It's all swamp gas.
Any weird thing you saw is swamp gas, bud.
Clearly.
Shit.
But I mean, there's something going on in the pines. It's such a large area that they're, you know, for miles, you're really not seeing anybody.
Yeah, it is a big enough area where like it could sustain something, but there has also have to be a breeding population. I mean, the Jersey Devil technically is like what's sort of
a demon.
It's like it's paranormal or whatever you want to call it. So I guess you don't need that, but at the same time, like, come on, man. Get out of town.
I get it. I mean, listen, I think that this area of the nation is so old.
Yeah. I'm not saying it doesn't exist. I'm just saying that it's going to take more for me to believe. And I believe in a lot of weird fucking shit, man. I mean, listen,
I still think that you and I go out there with one of my portable recorders and we just record an episode. I know it's a bonus, just sitting out in the pines, drinking some Miller lattes.
That sounds
also, I don't know if you can hear this right now, but you live semi close to me. Do you know about the makeshift parades that go on with the Can-Ams? Yeah. Oh yeah, there's one going on by my house right now, and I can hear it. My door's shut, the mattress is in front of the door, and it's still loud.
This morning we went to Urban Jungle, that like
place in South Philly.
Yeah, we went there this morning, and we fucking as we were parking, we went to go turn down a street. There's just a parade, and I don't know if it was like a Polish thing or what, but it's like just like polka and brass music. Actually,
it's Oktoberfest.
I don't. But this sounded like fucking like it almost sounded more like a like those New Orleans like funeral type things. It was kind of like that. I don't know. Anyways, Nick, thank you so much for coming on, man. I appreciate it. Is there anything you want to plug before we?
I mean, if you want to hear about someone nerded out on watches, go follow us on YouTube at Unlimited Time LLC or follow me on Instagram at neovintage.nick, and I'll teach you about some watches.
Hell yeah, bud. So yeah, go follow whatever he just said on YouTube and Instagram. And if you're feeling
time waits for no man.
if you're feeling wily, you can follow us on Instagram at Cryptid Cocktail. Follow us on Twitter at Cryptid Cocktail. TikTok is Cryptid Cocktail Party. And then one more thing, since it's spooky and weird October month, I'm gonna be trying to put out little midweek episodes about things that are less cryptid related and more witchy, spooky ghosts, kind of things like that, or maybe just even more folkloric stuff, kind of like this episode. You know, just fun little stuff. So keep your ear out for that. But yeah, Nick, you want to say bye to everyone?
Well, Dave, thanks again for having me on the show, and we'll have to meet up in person and I don't know, have a beer.
Yeah, we'll do that, bud.
Fantastic.
Bye.
Bye.